A dad assumed that the man in a wheelchair who was speaking to his 11-year-old son at the gas station was just trying to get money from him, but when the young boy returned to their car, he revealed what actually happened, and that's when the dad's heart froze. Blanton O'Neill was out with his 11-year-old son, Sean, when he came across a situation that could happen to anyone. Since it's easy to make the same mistake he did, Blanton quickly took to Facebook to reveal exactly what happened when he and his son stopped at a gas station and his boy crossed paths with a stranger. He hopes that sharing the unflattering incident will help others make a difference and prevent them from the ugly truth he was forced to face. I debated making a post of this as it paints a not-so-flattering picture of me as a person, but I think in the end it is a picture of many of us if we are truly honest with ourselves, Blanton began. Yesterday, as Sean and I traveled to North Carolina for his soccer tourney, we stopped at an exit near the North Carolina-South Carolina border and pulled off at a small gas station for a drink. While I paid, I gave Sean the key so he could head back out to the car. It took Blanton a little while to check out, but as he exited the store, he noticed Sean's door was open. His son was walking away from the car towards an older African-American man in a wheelchair with amputated legs, who appeared homeless, according to Blanton. My first reaction sadly was, "Oh crap, he is hitting Sean up for money and has called him over," Blanton admitted. But as he walked closer, it became clear that Sean had engaged in a short conversation with the man. The boy turned around and headed back to the car, so Blanton did the same. When the duo returned to the car, Blanton asked his son what that was all about. "Nothing, Dad. I just was asking if he needed help," Sean responded. He said no thanks, that he was fine, but thanked me for asking. That's when the reality of the situation hit Blanton like a ton of bricks. See, at first glance, I didn't even notice that the gentleman was attempting to cross a gravel parking lot, full of potholes, in a wheelchair, using only his hands. I didn't notice that my 11-year-old child was man enough to see this in the mirror of my car, drop his electronics he was playing, get out and offer to help the guy, Blanton wrote. As they began to leave, Sean asked his dad if they could give the man some money, so Blanton pulled up beside the disabled gentleman and asked if he could use a few bucks. However, he said, "No thank you, I'm fine," adding, "Your son was a real gentleman and gave me all I needed today. God bless." After rolling up the window and starting to drive off, out of the corner of his eye, Blanton saw Sean wave at the guy and he waved back with a huge smile on his face, leaving Blanton asking himself one question: would I have gotten out of the car and done the same? "I don't post this looking for any praise for Sean," the dad continued with blatant honesty. "I post this to expose a real nastiness we have in our world. We spew such bile and hatred on every news channel, every Facebook post, every tweet," he added. "We all do it. We have forgotten to look at the world through the eyes of a child," he admitted. "Many people have told us over the years how big-hearted Sean is. While he can be bigger than life in many social settings, choosing to be the jokester, his small acts of kindness fly under the radar, as they should," Blanton wrote. "Sean wasn't looking for praise for what he did. He didn't even know I would see it. He just saw a man that he thought needed help." Blanton and Sean's story reveals why it's so important not to judge a book by its cover. A human isn't solely defined by their appearance, clothes, or their physical condition. Luckily, the innocence of children often lets them see beyond the surface, where adults tend to judge people all too quickly. Whether we like to admit it or not, we're all guilty of judging others in some capacity as we navigate the world based on our previous experiences and perceptions. Sometimes we might be right, but sometimes we're wrong. Like Blanton, however, we can admit and recognize our own prejudice and make an effort to prevent it from limiting our ability to show a kinder, more compassionate side of ourselves. But first, we have to face the bleak and dark truth. Then, instead of judging, we can try to see the world through a child's loving and unprejudiced eyes. Blanton's experience at the gas station left a lasting impression on him, sparking a realization that went beyond a single interaction. For the rest of the drive, he found himself reflecting on how his son's simple act of kindness had challenged his own biases. In a world that often feels cynical and guarded, Blanton recognized how rare it is to encounter a person who acts purely out of compassion, without ulterior motives. Sean's willingness to approach the man without hesitation highlighted a contrast between the innocence of youth and the caution adults often develop. As he glanced at his son in the passenger seat, Blanton couldn't help but feel a swell of pride mixed with a bit of humility. Sean's instinct to help someone in need made him realize that as adults, we sometimes overlook the struggles of others, assuming they're asking for a handout or taking advantage of kindness. Blanton was hit with the stark realization that Sean's genuine concern for the man showed him something powerful, that compassion requires no prerequisite, no judgment, and no strings attached. Blanton began to wonder about all the times he might have unknowingly missed opportunities to help others, dismissing their situations based on assumptions. In a busy world where everyone seems to be in a rush, it's easy to overlook those who could benefit from a small act of kindness. It's not that he didn't care, he thought to himself. Rather, it was the assumptions and distractions that clouded his perception. As they approached their destination, Blanton decided to share the story with his wife and close friends. He was nervous about admitting his mistake, but he felt it was important to acknowledge his own shortcomings. It wasn't easy to admit that he'd jumped to conclusions about the man in the wheelchair, but he wanted to honor Sean's kindness and set an example for his son, that growth and change are possible at any age. When Blanton shared the story on Facebook, the response was overwhelming. Messages flooded in from friends and strangers alike, many of whom shared similar moments of reflection. People began sharing their own stories of times they had judged too quickly or missed the chance to lend a hand. Blanton realized that his experience wasn't unique. It was a common struggle that many people face in the rush and bustle of daily life. In the days that followed, Blanton found himself more mindful of his actions and interactions with others. When he saw someone in need, he tried to approach the situation with the same open-hearted perspective Sean had shown. Whether it was holding a door, offering assistance, or simply smiling at a stranger, Blanton felt compelled to mirror the kindness his son had displayed. Blanton's relationship with Sean also deepened after the incident. Their father-son bond grew stronger as Blanton expressed how proud he was of Sean's compassion and maturity. He wanted Sean to know that his kindness had not only impacted the man in the wheelchair, but had inspired him as a father to be more empathetic and aware. Reflecting on the experience, Blanton knew that he would never forget the man in the wheelchair or the lesson Sean had taught him. It reminded him of the importance of letting go of preconceived notions and approaching people with an open heart. In his son's small act of kindness, Blanton had found a glimpse of hope, a reminder that the next generation might be the ones to bring more compassion and understanding into the world. Ultimately, Blanton's encounter at the gas station wasn't just about a single moment, but about a lifelong change in perspective. He made a promise to himself to continue learning from Sean and to strive to see people the way his son did, as individuals deserving of empathy, respect, and dignity. In the weeks that followed, Blanton noticed subtle but meaningful changes in his daily life. He found himself pausing more often, whether it was to appreciate a kind gesture from a stranger or to offer a bit of help himself. Blanton's newfound perspective became a quiet but powerful reminder of the importance of empathy in a world that often feels rushed and disconnected. He was grateful that Sean's simple act had brought about such a profound shift in his life, one he hoped would last. Blanton also began sharing his story at community gatherings and events, feeling a sense of duty to spread the message Sean had unknowingly taught him. At one gathering, he shared his experience with a group of parents, encouraging them to look for the good in people. Even when life's hardships can make it difficult, he noticed that many parents resonated with his story, nodding in understanding, and he felt a shared commitment to teaching their children kindness and openness, just as Sean had shown him. One afternoon, Blanton and Sean went back to the same gas station on their way to another soccer game. Though they didn't see the man in the wheelchair, Blanton felt a sense of peace returning to that spot. As they left, he told Sean how proud he was of him, explaining how his kindness had helped shape the way he now viewed the world. Sean listened quietly, a small smile playing on his face, but Blanton could tell his son understood the impact he had made. Looking back, Blanton realized this experience wasn't just about one small act of kindness, but a ripple effect that reached far beyond a single moment. Sean's empathy had not only transformed Blanton's own outlook, but had inspired others as well. Blanton could only hope that this story, and others like it, would remind people of the power of kindness and the importance of seeing others without judgment. For Blanton, it was a testament to the fact that even the smallest acts can create lasting change, one compassionate gesture at a time.